Hi there. Welcome back once again to my channel, Spiritual Chatterboxing. My name is Tammy, and I got the house to myself for a little bit, so I figured I would record a short-ish kind of yoga practice, maybe 30 to 40 minutes. I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of going with the flow here, but it will be something for the whole body, and you can do this practice at any time of the day that you choose. So go ahead and grab a mat, towel, or blanket for yourself, perhaps some props. I have 2 blocks and a bolster myself. If you do not have that, you can always use a pillow, a rolled up towel, or multiple if you don't have any blocks, just to prop yourself up if you need to at any point, and bring the ground closer to you to protect your joints. And if you have any injuries or anything that might be presenting a limitation of any kind, I've been using props more for my left side. I have some things going on in my left hip at the moment, so that side doesn't want to open as far, so I'd prop that side up. And just a reminder too that, you know, when we're doing both sides of the body, we often, you might hear the cat, you often think, you know, what I do on one side should be the exact same thing that I do on the other side, but I like to challenge that a little bit and open up the opportunity and the invitation for you to always honor each side as its own individual and unique experience, because we're not really symmetrical in that way, and we favor one side more than the other. Sometimes we have a dominant side. We could have something going on one side. If we were meant to be symmetrical, we would have, you know, a heart on the left, a heart on the right, and everything would be exactly the same, but that is not the case. So that being said, perhaps an invitation for today's practice is to really become so present in your body and what you are finding and what you're discovering and witnessing that's going on today, and being able to really be with that fully and respectfully. Okay, so let's begin seated. Let's begin seated, whatever way feels good for you, for just a few moments. And let's ground into our space. Perhaps taking a few deep breaths like I just did there, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And allowing yourself to land right here, right now. And no matter what time of day it is, whatever led you up to this point, this is an invitation to release that. As well as releasing what lies ahead, and really just being in the here and now, and allowing yourself to move in that space of presence, becoming aware of each breath as it moves through you, and moving mindfully and gently and slowly through your practice today. Let's go ahead and roll over the knees here and come into a tabletop position. So bringing the wrists below the shoulders, the knees below the hips. Really feeling the support of your bones here. through a few cat-cows. So as we inhale, the chin lifts, the tailbone lifts, the belly drops. You might even tuck the toes. And as you empty and exhale, untuck the feet, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale once again with that arch. And exhale, curl in. And moving through a few of these at your own pace. And coming back to a neutral spine when you're ready. And moving through some dancing lions, so some rotations in a circular direction. And really allowing the rhythm of your breath and the movement of your body to kind of merge together and find a synchronicity between them. A rhythm that feels like it flows naturally with you. You might hear my belly rumbling a little. I haven't had breakfast yet. And sitting the hips all the way back now for child's pose. Knees can be together or wide. Forehead, third eye touches down. Now I have my arms forward. You could also have your arms back with the hands draped by the feet, changing the shape of the back and the shoulders. we're really just exploring the body, being curious. Each day we come to the mat is a new, fresh opportunity, clean slate. We are constantly shifting, changing, evolving, and shedding. So being present really makes more sense because we have a new body today, new experience. Back to neutral. Now from this child's pose, coming forward, just sliding here on my forearms and coming into melting heart or puppy. And depending on the flexibility you're currently in, you might rest on the forehead, the side of the head, or the chin. Hips are lifted. Really letting that heart space melt toward the floor. This can feel intense if you're tight in the shoulders or new to the practice. Drawing up the bandhas if that's something you are familiar with. The pelvic floor is the Mula Bandha. And the corset kind of around the ribs is the Uddiyana Bandha. And keep coming back into the breath. And as your body opens and expands through each movement, you'll notice the sensations can sometimes shift, they can intensify, they can dissipate. So the more present we stay with this process, the more we learn about ourselves, the more information we can gather about where we currently are in our body, in our mind, emotions, energy. Let's take one more breath here. And then slowly sliding back, hips to the heels once again, and then we'll rise all the way up. Back to that tabletop. And going to move into a lunge here. I'm going to use my blocks for this one. You can, if you want to, placing them towards the sides of the mat and then drawing my left foot all the way up here. And notice I have an alignment with my knee to my ankle. Now the blocks is allowing me to not be as deep in the pose. And you can slide that right leg back if that's available, creating a little more of a split in here. And if you're using the blocks like I am, you can stay how I am here, where I'm kind of laying across this, my upper body's across my thigh here. But you can also bring the blocks back and be get to be wherever you want. You know, you get to really feel into the space of you and make the choice and the decision that suits your body. And then once you find that sweet spot, you can begin to lean in to those edges ever so gently and mindfully. And then bring yourself into that breath. Start noticing how your body is speaking, what it's revealing. We hold for approximately 2 to 5 minutes, depending on the shape and the practice that's being offered. And of course, if you have your own practice, you can alter those times however you see fit for your body, how much time you have. But we want to be generous with the holds, so that we can really be in the shape, feeling it from beginning, middle, and through to the end, allowing it to be a journey in each pose. And you will begin to notice, with this time frame, how you respond. Sometimes we're impatient with what we're feeling. Sometimes we want to rush, and sometimes we want to be a little more active. Sometimes we want to be a little more passive in the shape. So it's quite a learning experience each time you come to the mat and move through your practice, move through your body. I'm going to take about 3 more breaths here. Sending the hips back, and I'm going to leave the left leg here and just begin to straighten it, raising the toe up, coming into a little bit of a hamstring lengthener, and folding toward the leg for just a couple of breaths. Enjoying that release. Fingertips, drawing that left leg back, and maybe moving through a few dancing lions once again to open up the space that I just created and just feel into it. shifting to the right side when your body feels ready. So drawing that right foot up, again watching that alignment, making all these little adjustments first, checking in, finding that safe space. Acknowledging what you're finding, and then settling in. Using the breath as your guide. Such a beautiful tool. For all of the systems, when we begin to slow and somewhat control the breath, it affects the brain, the nervous system. Everything's connected. Brings space to the body. Supports releasing things from the body. And it just also brings your focus inward, removing all that external distraction and busyness that could be around you. coming all the way down to the back, leaving the knees bent, feet rooted, conscious resting pose, maybe bringing the hands to the belly for a few nice, deep, clearing breaths. So in through the nose and out through the mouth, letting everything drop in. You can use one, you could use your pillow if that feels better. But lifting the hips up and placing your props under the sacrum. So sometimes finding this spot can be challenging. You want them to be in the space where you feel fully supported to let your body weight down and feel safe. So the blocks won't be too far up in the waistline. They also won't be too far back so that you feel like you're falling off. So fine tune it. And when you find the space, you'll know. And you can either leave the knees bent like this. You can extend the legs long in front of you, which will open up into the hip flexors and such a little bit more. It also becomes a little more intense for the back here. So if your back is tender, I suggest you leave one knee bent or both knees bent. And this is allowing for the blood to flow toward the brain, the heart, flushing through past the organs. Arm placement is your personal preference, either on the body if you feel you want more grounding into yourself. A more open approach would be arms out, palms up, or even the arms all the way back behind you if that feels okay. I just want to mention here, sometimes in this pose, with all the blood rushing toward the head, sometimes it can feel like a lot of pressure. I do have days where this is not as comfortable, so just be mindful of that. If you feel that pressure and it's stronger, maybe it's not an appropriate day to have your angle be so deep or so, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for here. So steep? Yeah. So just be aware. You can always drop down a little lower. And if you are floating the feet, which I'll do here just to show, this brings even more blood down from the feet to the hips and then all the way down through the torso. This can also feel more intense with that pressure. For the women, if you're on your cycle, this is not as recommended. So use your discernment. This shift in gravity and direction of the blood flow here is very supportive the evening, especially, we can do legs up the wall. Or you have more support, that would be more restorative, and you can stay there a little longer. It's great before bed. Some say it's great for when you feel perhaps anxious. It supports that rebalancing and that nervous system balance, recalibration. Everyone's going to have a different experience with these shapes and postures. And I, of course, am speaking from my own experience and perhaps things I've witnessed in others. But you are responsible for your experience. What you're agreeing to, what you're giving consent to, based on what you're feeling. That's something that only you truly know. Just a few more moments here. Nice and slow, so I took my feet down, moved my arms, and now I'm going to remove just one of the blocks for now. Kind of taking it in stages. This is mindful movement, gentle movement, honoring the release. Transition. I'll take away the other one now, coming all the way down to the floor. And then to change direction, hugging the knees in and rounding the back a little movement here. Rolling it out, massaging out the back and the hips and the glutes. Yourself all the way down to your final resting pose, Shavasana, releasing yourself from all of the movements, all of the shapes. Trusting that your practice has brought you